done with the game.
Oh. That one, see?
Nice. Okay, cool.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you broke it. Okay. Jake, this is the last slide.
This is my drink.
Hello. Okay.
It's not one of many fights.
Yeah, you just ruined my punchline. Right at the start. We'll do the talk backwards. It's fine. Let's go. Okay. This world is unfinished. A talk in process. This talk is also not finished. Sorry, Jake. I, when I'm not producing, make games. Or more accurately, I start making games. And then, as we can see here in my games work folder, there are 439 files, 66 folders. None of those are finished. Not a single one of those games. I have a separate folder for finished games and it's significantly smaller. And I was a bit ashamed about that for quite a long time. I just sort of kept it a bit hush-hush. Like, oh, do you make games? Sometimes, yeah. You know, I've done one or two. No. I've done like bajillions and just not finished any of them because I'm an awful human being. But it turns out everybody does that. Everybody does that. No one finishes anything and it's great. Look at all. People have whole sections of their websites dedicated to games they haven't finished. I could have been doing this for years. I'm missing a trick. This is just from a brief one evening session of going through people's unfinished tags, and it's just fantastic. There's whole tags on people's websites, pages dedicated to unfinished projects. This one in grey was sent to me, unfinished, 4 cowboys stuck in a cave simulator, added dancing, cannibalism, whistling, and was just about to add the ability to light your own clothes on fire when the urge just died on this one. What a place for the urge to die. And you know what? I played it, and I had great fun with dancing, cannibalism and whistling, but could not light my own clothes on fire, sadly. But the guy who sent me this described it as his own white whale, the one that haunts him, the one that keeps him up when he's whittling, which is fantastic. That of all the projects he's made in his life, this is the one that sticks in his mind. Cannibal cowboys stuck in a cave. But some of the stuff that was being put up wasn't just being put up by people saying this is an unfinished project, I'm just putting it out there, you can have a look at the source code. No, what was particularly interesting to me was this one at the bottom, Unfinished Games Week 2015, which was a very short game jam run by Brogan Hackett. And the idea was that you submitted your unfinished games and people would play them, and you weren't allowed to finish them. You could make minor tweaks if the game was utterly and completely unlaunchable, but you had to submit just what it was, and people would play it just as it was. And that was really interesting to me because there's this quote that has always bothered me. And I put question mark because it's largely attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, but some people say Picasso, and there's a very similar quote by Paul Valéry, a poet, and there's some debate, you know, which one inspired the other, which came first, so who knows? But it is a quote by someone. Art is never finished, only abandoned. And I get the point of that. I get that the point of that is that you are always improving your artwork. I get that the idea is that you never truly finish a project. You perfect it and you keep going until you abandon it at a point where you don't want to continue, but you could always make something better. But fuck that noise. Because you know what? Some of my projects aren't gonna get better. They're just not. They're doing the best they can, and we have to live with that. Because does something being abandoned or unfinished mean that it is incomplete? And I know everyone is going to go, yes, that is the definition of that word. But I mean, in a more philosophical sense, shush your faces. What I mean is, if you haven't finished something because it has not reached your ideal of what you meant it to be, does that mean the project is incomplete? Or is the project just different from what you wanted? Because I put a call out on Twitter while I was thinking about this to all my game-making friends about what is the project or a project that you consider never finished, you consider abandoned? And in one evening, I got maybe 40 or 50 replies to this tweet, and every single one of them had an apology in it. Because people were sending me, I'd ask them, send me your unfinished games, send me your abandoned games, I want to play them. And every single one of them had things like, oh, it's got a lot of placeholder art, or oh, I rented it out, but it's a little bit glitchy, and oh, I really enjoyed making this, but I'm sorry, I'll probably never be able to finish it. I know, I asked for unfinished games, I know it's unfinished, that's what I wanted. It doesn't matter. Okay, is it placeholder art though? At this point, this is what the game is going to be. You're not finishing this, so it's not placeholder anymore, is it? That's just the art. That's what the art in this game is. Stop thinking of it as placeholder and think of it as what it is. This is the art of this game, and I love it. It's weird and awful and terrible and glitchy, and it doesn't fit the space, but I really like the aesthetic you've got going here, and I have enjoyed it superbly. Just something being not quite right doesn't matter if you enjoy it, you know? Don't think this game isn't finished because it's not what I had in mind. Think it's not what I had in mind, but it is finished. It's just something different now. Because unfinished doesn't, I think, mean what it's supposed to mean. And I'm going to play a game that someone sent me, if I can find it.
Just any of those will be fine.
Okay. I just got stuck in a loop of clicking. It was really soothing. Okay, so let's go fantastic. Why not? Windowed. Whatever. So that you can't escape this game.
I know.
You can't close this game. They never got around to adding that bit in. And while it loads up, I think this was sent to me by Pat of Pixel Foot Games, I think. So shout out to them. They do finish some, but this is not one of them. And he sent this to me, and I played it, and I really liked it. And so I sent him a message saying, I played that unfinished thing that you sent me. Can you send me a Mac build of it, because I wanna play it live at a talk that I'm doing? And he sent me a message back that was very excited and went, oh yeah, since I sent you it the first time, you know, I was talking to my wife and we were chatting about it, and I want to go back to this idea. I want to finish this game. We're going to take it in a new direction, something different. It's going to be like a sort of slightly horror-ish fantasy game about, you know, creepy fairies in the woods and stuff, and that all sounds great. But I really like this, and it's not anything. This is it. This is, you just go straight through the trees. Straight through them. There's some of them, but not all. If there's too many, it's like, nah. That's just too many trees, don't take the piss. There's no objective, there's nowhere to go, there's no marker, it doesn't tell you what to do. It's just a creepy, eerie, slightly slenderish woodland with no horrific entity following you around, and a really soothing soundtrack. And I'm not gonna lie, I played this for nearly 2 hours. I just sat phasing through trees for 3 hours. I'd had a pretty bad day, I was in a really rough mood, and I sat and just into the horizon, constantly. I don't know if there's an end to this, maybe, who knows. And I found it really soothing. It was a really nice experience because it's this unfinished game. Sure, it's not the end goal of whatever this game was meant to be, but it is on its own a finished entity. It has value and worth as what it is. It's not something you throw away and go, I didn't finish this, it's rubbish, ignore it. You go, well, this didn't become what I wanted it to be, but it is something, I've done something, I've made something, and you can interact with it, you can play with it, and you can get something out of it. I think we're a bit harsh on stuff that isn't finished when it has value just on its own. This is a game world, and I am playing a game, and it doesn't matter that I'm not really doing anything, because I love those games anyway. But what was important to me was that everyone who sent me their unfinished games, I played every single one of them. Because everyone who sent me them apologized first. And I don't think that's necessary. I don't think you have to apologize for not finishing something, because everything that I played that they sent me was in some way fantastic. It was like this, and it genuinely moved me and genuinely gave me a sense of achievement or peace or understanding. Or it was something that I played and thought, this is a really good idea. I'd love to use this idea somewhere else, and I'm enjoying doing this one thing that I can do here. Or it was just hilarious. It was so broken and glitchy and amazing that it became its own form of entertainment while I was just dancing through broken walls and firing projectiles off at random and triggering cutscenes and music by just standing still for long enough. Every unfinished game I got sent had value in some way. And I think that was important to me as a game maker to understand, because I've spent so long thinking that unfinished is bad or is a disappointment or is something I shouldn't tell people about. And I've spent so long thinking unfinished is a game that I was not successful with. And that's not actually true. I've created a lot of things that were successful in that I've made the game world, and I've made something that can be played, and I've made something that is on its own worthwhile. So if I could bring one thing away from this talk, I guess, about what is the inherent value or worth of publishing and playing and interacting with unfinished games, I don't know yet, because I've still got a lot more to play. But I know there is something out there, and you don't find it if you don't give it a go. So I guess the point of this talk is